What's up guys, Sean here. So we're about to start the inaugural fire for Wild Camp 2024. It's gonna be a great one. Let's get it.
Might not have to do much of anything really.
Yeah. Light your thing and then throw it in, it's gonna take off.
I know, it's gonna go right up.
Oh, so we still got a lot of coals.
This is all coals.
You know what?
Man, you could
even over there.
That group that left here today has been here for 6 days. And
you could dig that out right there and put a
really, that's from another group.
In there.
Oh my gosh.
That's amazing that the coals are from somebody else.
Put a pork shoulder or something.
I'm just gonna do that.
And
this.
I've heard that it follows the beauty. I took that thing to the turkey shoot one time.
that's a fire.
Went 7 of them, they said you're done.
Thursday night was our VIP night for a small group of campers we call super supporters. Without them, we would have never gotten Wild Camp off of the ground. Good morning. So we had a great time last night, just cooking and hanging out around the campfire. And the super supporter night, I feel like was a huge success because everybody just got to hang around the fire in a small group. And we truly appreciate all the super supporters that really helped make this event possible. Everybody's kind of milling around doing their own thing this morning, I guess, and I see little campfires throughout. Everybody's got their own breakfast going and stuff. It's pretty cool. And here in a little while we're gonna start classes, so let's go up here and see the check-in. I think the gates are getting open now, so we should have people starting to come in here in just a few minutes. And let's go up here and check out the check-in area, see how that looks. Alright, so check-in has started. Sarah's got some check-in going on. We got some guys sitting here around the fire at the coffee round table doing some chatting and talking about gear and all sort of stuff. So it's been good this morning. We have some people starting to come in now. It's going to get busy here in a little while, but Sarah's organizing the we've got a little camp store set up in there for anything that people forgot to bring. So it's a pretty cool little setup. Sarah's done a great job, obviously. She always does. But everybody seems to be happy this morning about everything, so far so good.
And it's pretty heavy for a neck knife.
Always, you know that. So I've been walking around here checking out everybody's setups and stuff like that. I got one I want to show you here. So Dennis is gonna take me through his setup. I think you're really gonna like this. All right, so what we got going on over here?
Well, I was telling Sean, I inherited this truck from my father. He passed away 8 years ago, and I don't drive it a lot. And but anyway, I got this ladder rack on Facebook for 50 bucks. It was for 8-foot bed. I cut it down. I'm not a welder. I had a friend that did some welding. Got on Facebook and ordered me 4 of the receivers. They're 29 bucks a piece, and I had the friend weld them in there for me. And the 2x2 steel here just slides in them. So when you get ready to leave, you take hammock down, and those I got 2 hooks there on the side of my railing. All that stuff and all my pole stuff store on there, and you can go down the road. I've got pins to pin all this, but it's not necessary. Right. The way it's wedged there, I've lost some weight, but I was 360 when I put this together. In there, it has never moved. You know. But
look at that.
This table deal was. I saw somebody put on Facebook. They had a seat on the back of their truck on a carrier, and I thought, well, I can do that. So I found me one on Facebook for 20 bucks and put that thing together. This is actually an extender for a kayak that I had that was rusty, so I bought me a new one for my kayaks, and had this piece of wood in my wood pile. Put that on there. Makes a, you know, just makes a nice little table. You know,
that is pretty amazing, man.
And if you know, being a ranger and all this stuff, I wanted a little stabilizers on it. So again, Amazon, 29 bucks a piece. I don't know if you can see underneath there.
Oh, yep.
I mounted them right to my trailer hitch, so there's no body modifications, nothing. I mean, I could have this stuff stripped off here in 20 minutes. The rack, everything off there. But so I put those on there, and I got a little impact Milwaukee compact zip, and it's done.
It's rigid.
And I just stuck these under here. You know, anybody that owns one of these carriers know, you see them go down the road like that. So I just stuck that under there, and you know, I can house 2 people. The friend that was coming is sick, so they're not coming. So I got me a daytime use hammock, and this is going to be my nighttime setup with my underquilt and everything.
How cool was that setup? He's got such a cool little setup on that Ranger. Makes me kind of want to get me a Ranger now and set one up like that. All right, so it's that time. First class for Wild Camp 2024. We're going to do the Tree Ninja class with Ranger Sean Fitzgibbons, and let's go over here and check this out.
I'm Sean Fitzgibbon. I'm a member of Florida Bushcraft, and I have my own Facebook page called Solid Ground Survival and Bushcraft that I try to keep up to date with. Sometimes it gets a little flat, but life gets in the way. Real quick, my background, I was a medical practitioner, almost 30 years, left medicine and became a park ranger about 1 year and 5 months ago now. So always had a huge love for the outdoors, became a survival instructor in 2012, and I have maintained that. So what you're going to get in this class too is little snippets of things, things that work for me. You'll hear me say that. Something else may work better for you, and that's fine. This class is designed to get you thinking about things and how to get outside without overcomplicating it and still being comfortable while you're out there, okay? The fact of the matter is, a lot of people aren't going to go out for a week or so at a time. Could you? Yeah, you could with some of the things I have here. Sure you could. But if you only have 24 hours to go out, which a lot of times is realistic in today's world, everybody's got jobs. What can I do to get out quickly for 24 hours or 48 hours without having to take a bunch of gear and overcomplicating things? Okay, That's what this is about. Yeah, okay. Well, for those of you who might not know, great material. Even when they're wet, they retain heat. They are somewhat waterproof with the lanolin that's in the fibers. And so it's just a great natural material to have around. Are you gonna hike in with this? Probably not, okay? They weigh a lot, they're very heavy. But is it another backup kit to throw in your vehicle to add heat value, what we call R value, into your sleep system? Absolutely. Another thing you can do, if those who aren't familiar with wool blankets, is you can actually make a cloak out of them. There's something called a cloak pin that you slide through, turn, it locks the blanket around you so that you can use it as a jacket or to keep the damp moisture off you.
Now, what brand wool blanket do you use?
This is a woolly mammoth. Thank you, Jimmy. Jimmy also has one of these, and you can get them on Amazon. They're I believe 80-20, is it, Jimmy?
That sounds about right.
I think it's an 80-20 blend. So it's not 100% wool, but they're pretty warm, and they do a great job, and they're under $100. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna fold over your wool blanket. You're gonna poke your hole through.
Where'd you get the pin from?
Off Amazon from my niece, who got it for me a couple of Christmases ago. But then you're gonna turn your pin, and now essentially you have another jacket or a blanket. You've got a day off, but you know you've got an obligation the next day. Nobody's been there, right? None of us ever go through that. We've not planned to go camping with our buddies from Florida Bushcraft and then had to call and say, something changed, sorry, life got in the way. So this class, not only showing gear and giving you little tidbits here and there, is designed to show you how can I get out there with very minimal gear, okay? First thing, does everybody know what this material is?
Canvas.
It's canvas. Does anybody know what the weight of canvas is?
Heavy.
It's heavy, absolutely. So, bottom line with that is, this is not something, once again, you're going to hike into camp with, okay? But for car camping, where you can pull up to a campsite and you want to set something up quick, this is pretty much unbeatable. And some people will say, well, I'm on the ground. Well, there's ways to mitigate that. But up under this, believe it or not, it creates a microclimate when you're inside this little triangle. It's usually about 4 to 5 degrees warmer up under this tarp than the surrounding air. If you couple that with a small fire or a stove system or even a propane heater, if it's going to be that cold and you just want to get out, you're going to brave it, okay? But something just to put a little heat in there, but even without heat, it's still like 5 degrees warmer when you sit under that for a few minutes.
What a great class. Sean Fitzgibbons did an awesome job teaching that class. Really enjoyed it. Now we're going to go over here and check out Bodair's Carver Tri-Stick class. Should be a lot of fun. Look here who I just found. Thank the Lord.
Mr. Blackie Thomas.
Hey brother, how you doing?
I am fantastic, man. Fantastic.
Good
It
to
is
see
so
you.
good to see you. I'm glad you were able to make it.
I'm glad to be here. Beautiful place.
My name is Bodair, so I'm here at Wyld Camp. So we're going to do tri-sticks, or what we call notch sticks. And so what you're doing is it's kind of practicing your bushcraft skills or your camping skills. And I used to never really do this. The only thing I ever used to make was tent stakes or spear points or stuff like that. About a year ago, when I did a bushcraft event, and they had been up in Canada camping with Kavinsky back before he died, and he's kind of the one that started bushcraft in North America, and this was one of his things that he did to practice your notches and skills. And what you're really kind of doing is taking your knife and making multiple notches on a stick. It's called a tri-stick or a notch stick. And you're seeing what your knife can do. So you're carving the knife, you see how the knife feels on you, Is it too big for your hands? Does it not cut good? You know how to do it. So you're really kind of practicing your knife skills when you're doing it. So we just came back from Alabama at an event there, and one of the guys there is Brian from Three Ravens Bushcraft, and he trained with Moore since the time he was 15 years old. So he really was like one step away from the guy that invented this right there. And so we were asking them like their skill level, what was their thing. Because I had heard that Moore's, for his instructors, wanted you to do 10 different notches in 10 minutes or a minute a notch. He said, yeah, that was just a random number that he came up with, thought it was good, but it's kind of like their standard to see. Now, I can't do a minute notch like that, so, but, you know, just slow and steady. So we're going to show you like several notches. There's like 20 that's really appropriate to bushcraft, but we'll probably do about 6 today. One's like for sharpening for your tent stakes. You could do a plow point for digging or for root stripping. We'll probably do a saddle one, V-cuts that you use in setting traps, or a pot hook, or we'll do that one there, reduction, and maybe like a hole. But what I want you to do is like come up and grab you a stick. And you want them, when you're doing them, like a soft wood about 30 inches long, that you kind of measure it from your shoulder to your fingers is like a good length to do. Like that, there's your one, like that. And we'll give you like a couple little papers on them too, like that. And Matt's got some papers that's got some more detailed ones on it, like that. Like if you were like, you know, like digging, like you needed to dig a trench to go to the bathroom or whatever, or if you put a little V in it, it's also use it for a root stripper right there. So you're just gonna take your knife and you're just doing like a cut on each side, making like a V on it. It's like down an easy, quick cut like that. And that's for like digging. You can dig trenches with it. It's an easy one to do. So that one's just like a little V cut or a plow, so you would use it to kind of dig. So if you're not using your knife, just go ahead and sheath it up so you won't cut yourself. If you cut yourself, we do have a stop the bleed class later.
There you go.
So one of the ones going to show you right now is called a stop, like a stopper or stop cut. Like that. You're just going to put your knife down. You can use it with a finger. That's why we're using softwood, so you can press in it. And you're just kind of pressing your knife and getting like a little press cut in it. Yeah. If you got like a harder wood, you can tap on it with a stick or something to put it in. But if you just roll your knife back and forth on it, you should be able to put a little line in it. It's called a stop.
You want to go about a third of the way
right
in
there.
if you can.
You just kind of, I do it and put my thumb on top and kind of just do it, get a little pressure on it. So what you want to do, this one's going to be like a V notch. You're going to just come away at an angle, like a 90-degree angle, and you're going to cut back into that stop cock that you make, that stopper knot. And that's going to keep your cut from going past that spot. And so you make it, then to make it deeper, you just come in on your stop cock, cut.
Not a stop cock.
Stop
like a stop cut.
Where did I get that from?
And action.
All right. So, we're here to talk about axe sharpening. Pretty much everywhere in bushcraft outside of the state of Florida, your axe is probably going to be your best friend. You know, here hatchet versus machete is a common thing we talk about. But I'm a big axe guy. Yes, I have machetes, but I'll pick a hatchet every day of the week. That's just me. For the type of bushcraft things I like to do, hatchets are what I end up using. So step one to having a sharp axe is buy a Grantsford's Bruck's axe. Step two is go camping. You're done. No, I'm kidding. So here's kind of my system. So I don't take all this camping with me. This is something I'll do at home to get my axe ready for the trip and then head out. In the field, if it needs any more than touching up, I'm just not going to do it, and that's when I'm going to go to my knife or whatever I have to do. So if I come out say I use this thing all weekend long without touching it up, it's going to get pretty dull. So when I go home, that's when I'll pull my little system out and make it razor sharp again. This thing will shave your face, your legs, no problem. So, but since that one is in good working order, we're going to use Sean's. So, Sean has a Husqvarna hatchet, and as you can tell, it's well used, probably well loved. Looks like he's done a little bit of stuff here and there, but if it were me, I would probably knock the bevel back. So the bevel, your sharpened edge, that's like your first thing here. So, first thing in my kit is a Sharpie. You guys, anybody's ever watched an axe or a knife sharpening video, they always say, you know, how to Sharpie. So the first thing I would do, this is something, if your axe is kind of sharp, you're going to want to wear a glove, but I'm not too worried about it with Sean's. So we'll go like this. So see, I got my marker and I put it at where I think I want the bevel. So since I'm not going to mess with his axe too much, I'm just going to go right behind what he already has. And I'm going to use my finger as a stopping point on the edge. See, this is why I would say wear a glove. And then you just run it along. And so what that does by using your finger with a glove on is you get a uniform line across the full length of the blade. Can anybody see with me do it this way? You guys all see? So this and there, and then without moving your finger, flip it over, and then you do the same thing. So that way your bevel's the same on both sides, and you don't end up with a crooked bevel. So you'll see that a lot if you go somewhere and you buy a vintage axe or a used axe or some old timer. Anytime he went to sharpen it, he just hit one side on a grinder and called it a day. He didn't do the other side. So now we have our Sharpie marks, so we know where we want to start removing material from. That's when I get a file out. So this is nothing special. You find these at any kind of flea market. You can get them at any hardware store. It's just a metalworking file. And I like to use some kind of hard surface like this. And so here's where the Sharpie comes into play. You drag it across. Don't push forward. Drag it back, because you don't want to. If you push forward, you're going to mess that edge up even more than it already is. And then you just drag your file across until you remove that marker. That's as simple as that. Not rocket science. So, but what we do to one side, we do to the other. Always. That's a rule. So, unless the only exception to that is if you have a carving hatchet. Some carving hatchets will have that. They'll have one side is kind of straight and this side is the bevel, because it's made for either left-sided or right-side carving. So, but we're not talking about carving hatchets so much. We're talking about regular camp chore type hatchets. So that would be the exception to the rule, though.
So that was an awesome axe sharpening class. That's something that you don't see a lot, is an axe sharpening class. A lot of good info there. Everybody's really enjoying these classes, and it makes me happy because we put a lot of work into making sure we were going to have classes that people were going to be able to actually get something out of. Really appreciate Tampa Jimmy for putting on that class. Did an excellent job.
All right, so welcome. Thank you for coming to the tarp class. I love tarp, and we use it in everything in bushcraft or camping and stuff, so you need a tarp. So I really got into it because I was just always a car camper to 2018 when my best friend Matt took me backpacking for the first time in my life, and I almost died on that adventure. So that's how we started bushcrafting and stuff, because like literally we would hike the trail from hell. So then I started getting more and more into bushcrafting camping, and you have to have a good tarp to set up different things. But I'm going to show you some quick setups right there, just on so this is already in so this is a DD 3x3 or 10x10 like that, which is almost 3x3 is almost like 10 feet by 10 feet, but it's probably the most common bushcraft size tarp. If you look at things like that people do things, is the 10x10. You can just do so many sets with it. So this one here is called a lean-to style. It's just a beginning one that we're going to work everything off, and everything's just a tent stake change off of this. Great thing about this tarp, it has 19 tie outs on it, so you could do more layout configurations than I'm smart enough to do. I try to find some at home, and then I'll practice them. Some of them are they're just like way more than I could do like that, but there's literally hundreds of them like that. And so we're going to show you a couple of them. Then I'm going to show you some ridge lines. I did a quick deploy ridge line, 25 or 30 foot ridge line with a bowline knot on one end, and you just do like a marlin spike to put it in, like a quick release. Just pull it in, put a stick in, and you got it. And then any kind of hitch that you want to do on here. A lot of people do the trucker hitch. They're doing the Siberian hitch. You could do the wraparound Robert hitch sometime I do like that, which is just tying knots like that. But a good one you to do in a rain, quick one, is just the lean-to style. This is the one you see like traditionally on cowboy shows and outdoor shows. There's plenty of room in here for you and your friends. And you can set it up at any height. The height is going to be on weather. If you're having really bad weather, just come down more lower. I did it at this height so we could do like multiple sets and stuff. So this one here is called the lean-to style. But this is great for emergency because you could get, if it's raining, I'm just going to throw this up real quick, and then you just come under, set up here with your bags and everything for the 15-20 minutes that we had the Florida storm, and then come off right there. So the next one we're going to do is the same thing. It's lean-to, but we were talking earlier today, and Sean had talked about, like, if you're laying on the ground, you get conduction coolness from your body like that. Or sometimes you don't want to sit on the ground like. So what you do on this one here, you can make a flooring with it. So with a lean-to with a floor, so just by coming up to number 2 on each side right there, we're going to do it from this height right there. You just pull in, take your peg, just go to another one. That's the great thing about this one, is that it has like 19 pull-outs in it, and you could do it quickly from those. So you just bring it in, and then you can come in and fold it in. And now you have a floor. And you can lay back here. Plenty of room. I'm like 6'2", 6'3" on a good day. Like that. But like plenty of room. You could get off the ground. You got big right there. You put your gear in front of you and everything like that.
Alright guys, so we had a bunch of really good classes today. All the instructors did a great job, and it just turned out awesome. Got some dinner going tonight. For dinner I'm doing some chicken and yellow rice, and after dinner we got the Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Group. They're going to be doing a presentation for us in the main hall, and we're going to head out for a night hike, so it should be a lot of fun.
Hello everybody, how are you? We are the Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Team, and I'm the founder. My name is Marie Dumont, and I started the group I started Bigfooting originally about 6 years ago, and I decided to come up with my own research team about 4 or 5 years ago, and we go out in the woods every single weekend, and we have been for 6 years. When I was doing it, when I was going out solo, I was out every single weekend, sometimes more than once a weekend. So we have a lot of experience out in the woods, probably not as much as you guys do, but
different experience.
Different kind of
Different kind of
experience. So anyway, again, my name is Marie Dumont. This is Mike Aguilar. His son, Kalen Aguilar, he goes out with us too. He's an honorary member of our team. Christina Lawhorn, she's a newbie to the group, and Ruby Jo Group. So this is the Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Team.
Thank you everybody for coming out too.
Yes, thank you for coming out. So we just want to throw out some thoughts about Bigfoot and Florida and stuff like that. Can everybody hear me? Is it okay? All right. So, you know, for years we've been interviewing people, talking to people, people like you, and we've kind of, I know you guys have heard about skunk apes, and you've heard Bigfoots before, and truly we believe that we have both in the state of Florida. And the reason why we think that is because the reports are very different. Say, like, we're in the Tampa area, and Tampa is like mid-Florida, right in the middle, right? And if you go south of Tampa, the reports are a smaller creature, typically 5 to 7 feet tall, very thin, very lean, less hairy, 4 toes instead of 5 toes. But the reports around Tampa, and you head north, Ocala, you know, North Florida or whatever, that's your typical Bigfoot, you know, 6 to 9 feet tall, big, muscular, hairy, 5 toes. So, like I said, the reports are very, very, very different. So that's why we think we've got 2 different type of creatures going on in our state. We could be wrong, but that's just based upon our observations and the amount of time we've been out there and all the interviews we've done with people.
And the things we find,
Yeah.
it's like a line drawn in the sand almost, where it's like you go up here and you find weird little structures and things all out in the woods, and you go down south and you just don't find it.
Yeah.
Very, very rarely. Maybe a tree broken here and there, you can't tell.
Yeah, it's
But
extremely
Big
different.
different with what the structures we find from Pasco County or parts of Hillsborough County, Pasco County up.
Right. So just to give you an idea, this is a cast of a 4-toed print from the Everglades. You can see a gigantic toe, big toe, but it's a 4-toed print that was found by one of our honorary team members, Dr. Bill Hewitt and Bigfoot Dave Miller, and they were on my team. So very interesting. But look at the size of that big toe, and there's only 4.
Even
So that would be a stunting.
going up to our area more, everything seems to get bigger. I found the same prints from this guy, I call him just Big Toe, because he has prints. I found so many of them. Just one toe will be sitting there like that, and it's like he lifts the other ones up. It's really weird and funky, but I found them all over the place like that. I've come into the area, walked down the trail to go back and get in, not seen a print, come back and find 3 or 4 of those Big Toe guy prints as I'm leaving, where he came in and followed behind me. Freaking creepy.
Wow, what an awesome presentation. They did an awesome job. So that was a lot of fun. I'm gonna go grab my hoodie and my headlamp, and I think we're gonna go head out on a night hike with the Bigfoot group. That's gonna be fun.
Time for some Bigfoot hiking. The chances of us bringing everybody back is fairly slim,
But everybody signed the waivers, so it's fine.
There's some
watch your feet. Watch your feet.
I'm not scared too much of whatever left it.
I'm gonna guess raccoon on that.
That's what I was guessing. I'm guessing raccoon.
Sorry, buddy.
That looks
water. That's a right there. That's a where? No, that's a a gator. I usually would be like, you can actually see it.
You see Uberleben right where my house is, because you know where you started at Lake Oak and that there in Fort Mayaca? That's where you start.
Yeah, I've got it on I've got my thermal on.
That is really neat.
You can see nothing.
Yep.
Oh, whoa. No, this ain't no log. That ain't no log.
Alright, well that's the end of the first full day of Wyld Camp 2024. I have to say it was an awesome day. All the instructors did a great job. Everyone had a great time, and I can't be happier at the way things have gone down today. I've had a great time myself. It's been a long day. I've had a lot of running back and forth, but it has been awesome. Tomorrow we have an early start. We have classes that start at 10 tomorrow morning. So I'm going to go ahead and crash out and get some sleep and get up early. I will see you guys in the morning.
showing Fitz on her first camping trip.
Look how pretty you are. Oh my goodness. So, yep, you're going to be YouTube famous for about 4 seconds on this clip.
Yeah, I'm kind of already on YouTube though, so.
Yep, what's your channel?
Morton the Last Child.
Morton the Lost Child? Last Child? Very cool. So what do you do on your channel?
There's short cap cut videos, and there's also like just clips of flipping through art books that I've drawn. So.
Very, very cool. Well, you know, if you're on video like this, you got to do the whole like and subscribe thing, right? So tell me again what the name of your channel is, and tell them to like and subscribe.
Morton the Last Child, like and subscribe.
Awesome.
Well, good morning from Wild Camp, day 2. So today is a day full of classes. We're going to start out with my what to do when you get lost in the woods class for kids. Should be a lot of fun. Let's get into it. Let's talk about what to do if you get lost in the woods. So
Yeah, you can sit
yep,
close to Sean.
sit up right there.
I was showing some.
Oh, that's okay.
Sit up right there.
Sit right here.
Alright, so everybody got their little bags of treats, right?
Yep.
Let's see what you got in them. What'd you get in your bags?
I got you all the stuff.
This is like a notebook. Hunters like
Right, absolutely.
Notebooks. And I don't know what they're looking for. That thing. Whistle.
Alright.
We're gonna talk about that, right? Whistle, laser. A light.
Yep, you got a little light. Okay. So you kids should have one of your bandanas in it.
Yeah, I have a
This is blaze orange. This is orange for a reason. We'll talk about that in a minute. You should have, if I can find it, you should have a whistle in your kit. You should have a little orange light in your kit. And I want you to turn it on and check and make sure it works. But I want you to make sure you turn it off, and we're going to leave it off. Now I want to make sure also, you guys know, you kids know, because I don't want to say guys because there's some ladies here. I want to make sure you know that the whistles are for emergency use only. So we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But if you're out in the woods, if you're out hiking, if you're out camping and stuff, never just randomly start blowing your whistle and playing with your whistle. Have you ever heard the story about the boy who cried wolf?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're out in the woods playing, hiking, camping or whatever, and you just randomly start blowing your whistle, and people get used to hearing that, they don't pay attention to it. So if you had an emergency and you start blowing your whistle, they're not going to pay attention to it. So we're going to talk about how to blow your whistle correctly in an emergency situation. So you got your bandana, you got your whistle, you got your flashlight. I threw in the kit one of these little emergency blankets. And we'll talk about this little emergency blanket here too in just a minute. But the first thing I'm going to talk with the parents real quick before we talk to the kids. All of this stuff that these kids have, besides the emergency blanket really, can be put on the child. And when you take your kid or your child anywhere out in the wild, or camping, hiking, hunting, whatever you're doing with them, you should make sure they have at least these 3 things on them. Because we'll talk about it in a minute, but it's, even if they have it in a pack is okay, but you can lose this pack. If you have this stuff on their person all the time, if they get lost, if they get separated from their pack or whatever, they will at least have these 3 items on them to help them get found. The other thing is, and this is kind of scary to think about, and it's kind of crazy to think about, when I started researching this, how what to do if you get lost in the woods class for kids. There's not a lot of information out there. There's not a lot of videos on this. YouTube, if you talk about what happens if you get lost in the woods, it's a whole plethora of survival videos. Build a fire, but build a shelter, all this other stuff. If we're talking about these children, these smaller kids, they're not going to build a shelter. So we want them to know how to stay still, essentially, is what we're going to ask them to do. But the scary thing is, when I was researching this, on average, if your child gets lost in the woods when you're out somewhere, the average time it takes for the parents to call search and rescue or to call 911 for help is between 2 and 3 hours. People wait for 2 to 3 hours before they call for help because they're embarrassed. They don't want to tell someone else, I lost my kid. I don't know where my kid's at. 2 to 3 hours is a long time for that child to be gone from your presence. A lot of things can happen in that 2 to 3 hours. So, if you're out in the woods and your kid gets separated from you and you get lost, or they get lost from you, and they're not in your immediate area, immediately call for help. You call for help first, then you start searching in your immediate area, because if you find them, you can easily call right back and say, we've located them, we're good. But it's amazing to me to think that it takes 2 to 3 hours for someone to call for help because they're embarrassed that their kid has gotten lost. So that was the parents portion of the talk about this. So we're going to talk about an acronym. If you guys don't know what an acronym is, small children, you know what's an acronym? Okay. So an acronym is when we use letters that stand for words. So today we're going to use the acronym STAY. S-T-A-Y. Stay. And what that's going to stand for is stop. As soon as you are separated from your family, separated from your group that you're with, and you realize, I don't know where I'm at, I want you to stop. I want you to take a breath, because what happens is initially when you realize you're lost, before I even say this, has any of you kids ever been lost?
I have.
You've been lost?
I was lost on the beach once.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, what did it feel like as soon as you realized you were lost?
I was running down the beach line.
You're running
down the beach line. I was trying to find them.
You're trying to find them.
The opposite direction.
See, and that's the biggest thing right there. So, and that's not a kid's thing. That's the tendency for everyone is to. It's got to be just over there. I remember it's got to be just over there, and the majority of the time you're walking further and further and further away from where you need to be. So I want you to stay. As soon as you realize that you are lost, that you don't know where you're at, instead of that tendency to run, I want you to stop what you're doing, to stay, because it's easier for someone to find you if you are in one place. If you're wandering, you could easily wander out of the area that someone's walking through. So if you're on a trail, I want you to stop in the middle of that trail and make someone who is trying to find you have to walk over you to miss you. So I want you to stop right where you're at. The second one is I want you to take a breath. Because like Hunter said, he panicked. His first inclination was to run. So I want you to take a breath, calm down. Just that's one of the main things is just stop and stay calm. Being lost is very, very scary. But you need to take a breath and calm down. And then as kids,
I want you to do something that you like to do all the time anyway. So we're going to go to A. A stands for act silly. Lincoln, do you know how to act silly? Exactly. So what are you doing to act silly? Your big movements, right? Waving your arms around and good job, buddy. Waving your arms around, big movements. It's much, I don't care what color you have on, if you're standing still, not moving at all, it's harder to see you than it is if you're making big movements, big gestures.
But also,
So, what's that?
if you're lost in the woods, you got to deal with panthers and all that.
Yeah, well, we're not dealing with the survival side of it like that. We're just trying to help you get, you know, what to do if you get lost on the basic level here. Maybe we'll do a what to get lost advanced class in the future. But so we've got stop. I want you to stay still where you're at. I want you to take a deep breath. Try to calm yourself down. I want you to act silly. Big movements. I want you to be maybe not running in circles, but I want you to be dancing, throwing your hands around, all that stuff. And the last one we're going to talk about is why. Yelling, but we're going to talk a little bit other than yelling. So, yelling, I want you to vocalize. I want you to be loud. Because even if someone is just over the other side of the hill, they may not see you. They may have thought you were behind them or right there with them. So if you're yelling and making noise, you're flailing your arms around, making big movements, it's much easier for someone to find you. So we got stop, take a breath, act silly, and yell. So going along with that, we've got the orange bandana. So the orange bandana is a very versatile piece of kit for all of us, really. But for the kids, this bandana is going to be for the acting silly part of it.
So a paramedic. I've worked in EMS for quite a long time. And yeah, so I thought I would teach a little stop the bleed stuff. So at work, I train, I do help teach EMTs and paramedics this stuff. So to come and teach non-medical professionals, I really had to, I was like, let me see if I can simplify this as much as possible to come up with something that's super simple, you can throw in any pack, that'll handle most of your situations. Most being the key. You know, because at work I have an entire ambulance full of stuff. You know, there's hardly anything I can't deal with there. But out here, a different story. So I just put together a really, really simple small kit that honestly I believe is going to handle most of the issues. So open it up. Right out of the gate, I do keep a pair of gloves, because why not? You know, you never know. But honestly, what I'm starting with is just simple band-aids. This is going to fix 99% of your problems. Everything from small cuts, blisters, whatever. None of this really matters if you don't have simple band-aids. Because like I said, this is going to be what you're going to end up using most of the time. And it's really embarrassing when someone says, hey Jimmy, I cut my finger, give me a band-aid, and I don't have any. So.
But don't buy the bargain brand, because they don't stick worth the crap.
Yeah.
If it don't say Band-Aid, I will not buy it again.
What's that? I just buy whatever.
There's not like a go-to.
No. You gotta remember, in EMS, everything's about budget and counting pennies. So, you know, like the military, they buy the cheapest stuff.
A Band-Aid that doesn't stick is not really worth it.
I've never really had too much of an issue with that.
Oh, okay.
But if you're sweaty, if you're wet, things like that, that will be a problem. Next up is I just have a bigger Band-Aid. Again, this is going to be for your bigger laceration. So laceration is a cut. So a bigger cut, you move up to the bigger one. You know, this is kind of a no-brainer. I don't think anybody's going to have any issues with that. I'm sure pretty much everybody here has put a Band-Aid on something before. But again, after years of experience of doing this and at work, like I said, that's 99% of what you need right there. Next up is when we get the trauma dressing. So this is going to be for your bigger wounds. And this is just a simple gauze pad. all this stuff you can get at Walmart, Walgreens, stuff like that. This isn't specialized stuff that I've ordered or gotten from work or anything like that. So, and in here, we just have some sterile gauze dressing, and that's it. So for this, I wish it wasn't so windy. So for this, you know, say you have a cut on your arm, it's just that simple. It's gonna go over the dressing, and there's a few different ways you want to attach this. So we keep a couple things. So we have roller gauze, and we can open all this up if you guys want to, if anybody needs to see it. But most of the time, this is what I would use at work. But, you know, it's just simple dressing, you know, simple gauze. Sometimes you don't even need the 4x4, the 4x4 gauze pad. You can just use this and just wrap it up. But and as you can see, it has a little bit of stretch to it. You can fold it over. And then when you're done, you can just take it and tuck it in, and it'll stay. Now this is good for pretty much cuts, you know, on your extremities, your arms, your legs. You can wrap it around the head if you have a head injury. And this is gonna do a lot of the job for you. So, simple roller gauze. Other ways to attach stuff. So you have tape. Now this does come in regular tape and waterproof tape. If someone is real sweaty, try to dry the wound first before you tape it, and that's going to help things adhere to the skin. But again, nothing special. This is just tape. So this is cling, so kind of along the lines of the roller gauze. So it's got stretch to it, and it'll stick to itself. See? So when you wrap it around something, you can fold it back over on itself, and it should stick. If you're having problems with that, again, you can tear it off, and you can fold it under itself, and it'll hold, right?
My name's Kayaking. Me and Sean went to school together, known him for a while, consider him a friend. He reached out to me to come in and do a quick talk on kayak bass fishing. A little bit about my background. I'm from North Florida, High Springs area. Lived there my whole life. Grew up on a farm, so I got to fish in a farm pond since I was, you know, old enough to hold a rod. I've been fishing. And then that slowly turned into my dad taking me along for like Wednesday night bass tournaments when I was 13, 14 years old. I was going and doing these like little Wednesday nighter bass tournaments, and that turned in, like, kept progressing, and then I got older and I started saltwater fishing, got my own boat, started doing redfish tournaments and things like that, and still doing bass tournaments with friends, and then started offshore fishing. Offshore fishing went from a hobby to, I was running 2 boats with commercial permits and commercial spearfishing and commercial electric bandit fishing for grouper, snapper, and that kind of stuff. I'd go out and stay for 3 days, 4 days offshore, and regulations, not making any money, being away from family, I kind of had to find a job that actually paid the bills and not a hobby job. So I don't do much of that anymore. I still do offshore fish. But then my boat motor blew up during COVID, and I didn't have any way to go fishing. So I bought a pedal kayak just to get me out on the water. And I really just enjoyed getting back to my roots, being in a little boat, fishing the rivers, fishing the small lakes. And of course I wasn't satisfied with that, so then I had to add more stress by entering tournaments. And then I started doing the bass tournaments and the redfish tournaments in the kayak. And so over the last 4 years, I've been pretty active in both the bass trails and the redfish trails here in Florida. So anyway, I made some notes to try to keep myself on track so that I didn't get off in the weeds. I could sit here and talk about fishing and talk about one subject for 30 minutes and bore y'all, so I wanted to be able to kind of go through and cram as much in as I could in a short amount of time. So the first thing is you don't need a ton of money to go kayak fishing. You just need a kayak, and a paddle, and a life jacket, and a rod and reel. But there are a lot of things that will make your experience a lot more enjoyable. First and foremost is being safe on the water. There's quite a few kayak accidents every year, paddleboarders, kayaks. You just don't think it's a big deal, and you go out there and then you get in the wind and the current, the waves, you name it, like things happen. So in Florida, to be legal, you need a life jacket and you need a whistle. And if you're going out at night, you just need a light. And they don't even really specify what kind of light. So it's extremely bare minimum just to meet the legal requirements. It's not until that you put a motor on your kayak, at that point you have to register it just like a boat, and you have to meet all the regulations that a boat would have to do. You need your red and green lights, you need your stern light, you need all that. So spending a little money off the get-go on a good life jacket that fits you, that's got, you know, pockets, and a good decent paddle, and then you can just take those with you as you upgrade boats. I think
if your pedal breaks or something, you got.
Oh, absolutely. Like you're gonna run a battery dead if you've got a trolling motor, and it's over time. I've seen things. I've gotten myself into some pickles, and now I pretty much wear my life jacket 24. If I'm go ahead.
What kind do you recommend? Like
So I have two. The most popular kayak life jackets are made by a company called NRS, like the NRS Chinook. You put them on and you don't even know you're wearing it. You know, super comfortable. They really form to your body. I want to say they're like $150, $200. I have an Old Town that I paid about the same amount for, and I really like it because it breathes better.
Okay. I volunteered to do a class on kukris, large cutting knives, and things like that. So that's asked to do it. So that's what we're going to do today. What is a kukri? A kukri is a name that goes all the way back to the time of Alexander the Great, and they figured out that some swords that were in his army, that some people in it had these curved swords, and that they'd made it into the India and into the Himalayas whenever he stopped advancing. Well, these people captured these swords or got them or were somehow inspired with them and started utilizing them. And they found that it worked very well. Now, when you say the term kukri, you're also speaking of a class of knives, like kitchen knives, garden tools, shovels, all kinds of shovels. This one is called a suruptai. Thin. This is a fighting knife. This is used kind of like a machete. It's lighter than the heavier one. They use them as both self-defense and for chopping working tools. So if you're doing something light and thin, like down here in Florida, you got a lot of brush and scrub stuff. Something like this is pretty cool because it's fast. Think machete. If you then go, stay there. If you then go to something like this, much thicker. Think hand axe on this. This is called a panawall. It means it's got a solid tang, and the type of shape is called a champura, which basically means chopper, meaning an axe. Now the weight difference between these two, this is almost like a third heavier than this. Okay? Kukris get their power from their weight and their design. When you take a straight edge cutting tool and you go to chop something round, you hit and you only have like a 2 or 3 inch wide cutting piece, right? With a kukri, when you hit, it wraps around it as it goes. So not only does it hit, it slices at the same time.
y'all doing? Y'all having a good time out here?
Excellent.
It's so nice having all this cool stuff, you know. Cooking utensils, big fire, clothes, shoes, food.
I think I know where this is going.
All the little things we take for granted every day. You know? Yeah, I guess it's been about 2 years. It was about 2 years ago that I got a phone call. I was actually guiding down in the Everglades. And they said, "Would you be interested in going on this TV show?" I'm like, I don't know about that, you know. I've never been a big fan of Hollywood stuff, TV stuff, you know, because it's kind of a funky, they're on their own timeline and their own mindset. But I entertained it, and they found me. I didn't go looking for it, so I'm like, why would anyone want to do that? You know? But I've been kind of a you know, bushcrafter and survivalist for several years, and you know, growing up in my childhood, and really you know, coming back to Florida, you know, and Jimmy's group, the Florida Bushcraft, really kind of spurred that on for me, and I got to thinking about it. You know, for me it was like, where else can you get an opportunity to go off somewhere random in the world with nothing and basically hear good luck, you know? So for me, you know, it was an opportunity to kind of have a bit of a vision quest, you know? Go out in the woods and just see what you can see, you know? You get one random partner and a handful of items, you know? And so it's really an opportunity for me to go out in the woods and just see who I truly am, you know? I don't consider myself a great survivalist or, you know, anything like that. I'm just a human being, just trying to live in a world that we're given, you know? So, for an opportunity to be out there, and who here seen my episode? You know? A handful of you. How many of y'all watched the show? You know? I honestly hadn't seriously started watching until they got serious about calling me about it. I'm like, because, you know, at the time, I was just about ready to turn 50 years old, and I'm like, you know, who wants to see a 50-year-old naked on TV? But it was, you know, I'm like, all right. Yeah, it started about December, January. They started calling me, and I went, and then they kind of disappeared like Hollywood does. I'm like, oh, they ain't gonna call me. And I started driving. I already took a job. I'm headed to Maine. I'm gonna go run a boat up in Maine for the summer. I was up in Salem, Mass, and they were like, "We need you to go take a physical and a psych evaluation." And I'm like, "What? We're still doing this?" And so sure enough, in classic Hollywood timing, you know, that was April, and it was August when they finally said, "All right, we're sending you to Trinidad, Tobago." And had a little bit of time to think about, all right, Trinidad, Tobago, what's that area like? And first they said Trinidad. And any survivalist, anyone who's planning on going somewhere, tries to do their homework, have a little bit of common sense of where they're going to. But Trinidad and Tobago are two very different islands. You know, Trinidad is actually an island. It's actually part of the South American continent, so it's got different flora, fauna. And Tobago, which is where I ended up going, is a volcanic island. Very different environment. Plus, you go one side of the island, the other side of the island can be totally different. So I just kind of did a little research on what was there, but ultimately I was just like, you know what? The jungle and the island's going to show what it's going to show me. You know, I'm going to go back to my primal human roots and just try to tune into that jungle, the forest, and just be present. You know, with a handful of basic survival skills, and my partner, Ashley, you know, we built a shelter. You know, we're right on a riverbank. So we got that. We, you know, immediately I found a fresh flowing water, so I didn't have to boil water, which made it really easy for that scheme of things. One of the biggest challenges was getting fire, because it was so wet. It was just super humid. I'd make a big old pile of bamboo, literally a pile of bamboo shavings like this, and I had one of those little magnesium ferro rods and one of these little Exotech fire rods, and I'd get a big old pile of that magnesium right next to that big old thing of shavings. I'd have all my wood prepped out. You get it going, you sit flaming, you start getting your little stuff in there, and you just watch it just die out. Poof. You're like, man, it's like how much energy and time you put in it, because it just seemed to soak up that moisture. But we didn't have a fire on day 1, had a fire on day 2, and it was good.
So we have had some awesome classes today, some awesome instructors. Right now we've got Andi Wyldlander back here doing his Q&A, and everybody is just absolutely loving it, and I couldn't be any happier with the way this event has turned out. This is about the wrap up over here for the Q&A. We're about to get ready to do our group dinner. So tonight for our group dinner we have a taco bar that we're getting all set up inside, and we've got some folks out here on the water kayaking and fishing. If you didn't make it to Wild Camp this year, you need to write it down, put it in your memory bank, because we will be doing one again next year. So I'm super happy with the way this turned out, and these instructors have been awesome. So we're fixing to get ready for that taco bar, and we're going to have a great dinner, and then we're going to have one awesome raffle. So time to eat.
It's been kind of tough.
Yeah, it's not been a great bite, has it?
Yeah. Caught one, so we didn't get skunked, but.
Oh my God, speaking of the
Oh, you got a good one. Look at that.
Oh, nice. Like on point.
On point.
Good job.
Oh, let's go.
Get him in the boat. Get him in the boat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hang on. I'll take the picture.
Yeah, because I'm not going to get my phone out. It's not waterproof. Dude.
No, they got one in the kayak over there.
So I just walked down here, hit the camera, and as soon as I hit record, Christian nailed that bass out there. It couldn't have been better timing. It's like we planned it. So awesome.
Maybe not. I do got to go on.
It's awesome to be here.
I'm glad you're hosting.
On top of the pond.
There you go. On top or on the side?
On top.
I know her.
Hey, hey.
More gentlemen getting up for dinner.
Well, we got more than we could eat.
Awesome.
Less beyond us.
Awesome. Did y'all enjoy your dinner? Was it good?
Oh yeah, it was really good.
You gents enjoy your dinner?
Very much so.
Very
Thank
much
you.
so.
Thank you so much for your hard work. Appreciate it.
I had a bunch of kids come up and they're like, you gotta go for a walk with us, and I was tired, I didn't feel like doing it. Well, they came back and said, oh my God, you guys see what we found, you guys see what we found. And I was too tired, I was like, I don't really wanna go with the other group members. They went out and went with them and to go look at it. Well, today I finally went out, and this little dude found one of the coolest footprints I've ever seen, and I made a casting of it. And we wanted to show him in front of everybody and compare it to one of the real famous castings that Dr. Meldrum, we got from Dr. Meldrum. If you look that name up, he's the man. And anyway, I want you to see this, dude. So this is from Washington State. Okay? It was like almost 17 inches.
Yeah, there you go. Do that.
This is from Washington State. It was almost 17 inches long and like 7.25 wide. And it was off of a logging road, so it came out amazing. Well, Florida's extremely hard to get good castings out of. But hold that for a second. Here. This is what Hunter found. And I went over and made a cast of it. This was right around the corner. Here, let me see it. This was right around the corner. But look at that compared to that. It's really, really cool. So what we're going to do, we talked to your parents. We're going to take and let this dry really well. It's too wet right now. We're going to all sign it. And we're going to make an impression of it for us. And we're going to send you the original one back. So you're going to get to have this one to do whatever you want with. This is going to be your cast. So your first footprint you ever found, hopefully you find some more.
And you deserve it, man.
You deserve it, dude.
You found some amazing things.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Team, for coming out. And thank you, Hunter, for going out and finding some evidence on your own.
Yep.
Very cool.
You did a fine job. Awesome.
Thank you so much. Okay, has everybody had a good time this weekend? So, before we start this raffle, we would like to say thank you to a few people. We've had some of the most awesome volunteers help us this weekend. And I'd like to go ahead and have our volunteers that helped us with dinner and helped us throughout the weekend, if you guys will stand up for me. Stand up for me. Stand up for me. Everybody give me a huge round of applause. We truly could not have done this event without their help. It's unbelievable how much work this is. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to pull this off. Now next up, I know I've said this 1,000 times, I'll say it 1,000 more times. Anything that was very organized or well done at this event was not me. Is this beautiful lady over here, my beautiful wife, Miss Sarah Strickland, she organized the event and put it all together, so thank you so much. All right. I'd like to go ahead and say thank you to our wonderful sponsors. There are sponsors for this event that are on our main banner out there. But there are sponsors for this event for the prizes that were just donated by some of the awesome people that came here tonight. And if I accidentally forget you, I completely apologize, but I'm going to try to get this right. So, our friend Ken Barrett with South Georgia Budget Bushcraft donated quite a bit of stuff. So he donated, it's probably dumb for me to try to point out everything he donated, but Ken donated a lot of stuff, I'll just say that. We truly appreciate you for donating that stuff, Ken. It really helps out. Next up, I would like to say a big thank you to our buddy, Mr. Scab back here, Scott Baldwin. I tried to get a nice sponsor for this event, and I just couldn't make it happen. I tried my best. I reached out to Scott
and Scott said, let me work on it. Scott got Bushcraft blades to sponsor a bunch of these folders. And they are beautiful little knives. And we can't say thank you enough to Scab and Bushcraft blades for donating this stuff. I tried my best to get a nice sponsor and I couldn't do it. Scab pulled it through. So appreciate you so much, Scab. Now, you guys know, if you watch any of my videos, you know I'm a Blackie Thomas fan. And Mr. Blackie has the haversack. Blackie donated a haversack for the raffle, and it's unbelievably awesome. I wish I could steal it, but I'm not. So, huge thank you to Blackie for not only donating the haversack, but for making his way all the way from Alabama to come out here and put on a good class for you guys. So thank you so much, Blackie. I told you, she's getting me right. So, Tori and Kevin told us that, oh, we got some cups for you that we want to donate for your raffle. When they said that, I thought they were talking cups. They had custom 3D cups made, one for the raffle and one for me. You guys get a chance to win this one. You don't get to win mine. But this is our Wyld Outdoors logo in 3D on this cup, and it's so cool. So thank you so much for Tori and Kevin donating this raffle prize. So our buddy Mark Parshall, I don't think he's here unless I think he left earlier. Or no, Mark, stand up back there so everybody can see you. Mark has Nature Coast Laser Works, and Mark donated these etched cups, and these are beautiful. Wait till you see the detail in the tiniest little detail in that. Awesome work. So if you guys need any laser etching on these cups, you need to get with Nature Coast Laser Works. He can do a beautiful job for you. Thank you so much, Mark. So last year we had 6 sponsors for this event. This year I reached out, we had some return sponsors, but we ended up with 18 prize sponsors for this event this year. So we're super, super thankful for all these sponsors, and their raffle prizes also help make this event. So you guys buying raffle tickets truly helps the channel, it helps the event, and it's really one of the ways it's going to keep this event moving forward. So would you guys like for us to do another event next year? Yeah. Well, we truly appreciate it, and I think we're going to try to make that happen. So without further ado, I'll quit running my trap.
I'll say something.
Well, I'm going to pass it off to Greg.
All right, I'm privileged to be Sean's father-in-law. Of course, Sarah's my daughter. I've met a lot of y'all this year. I couldn't make it last year. But from my standpoint, I see the heart and soul that they put into this event every single week of the year. They started trying to find a venue in December of last year. It's not an easy fact to try to find something like this. And Sean has been driving back roads, putting out feelers, just trying to find a venue. Now, I've heard from a lot of y'all that this was a great venue this year, and definitely would like to thank you again. sweat and tears they put into it because they want everything to be perfect for you guys. And it's not always easy to make it perfect, but I think we've all had a great weekend.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
One last thing, when Sean started this YouTube channel, it was fun because he would always be updating you how many subscribers he had. He was trying to get to 100, and now we think we're right now. But you know, just the camaraderie that we have, the people who come from all over, it's great. And I know every video he says, you know, if you want to support the channel, become a Patreon member. You guys don't realize becoming a supporter like that and being a Patreon member, how much it helps them. They go to these bushcraft shows and things like that. You know what they're doing there? They're networking. They're working. They're networking with all these vendors and stuff to help us out. So anything you can do to help support the channel does ease them a little bit and try to get to these events and do things like that. So from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate all the work. Nice meeting all of y'all this weekend, and let's have a raffle.
Awesome.
Let's have a raffle. Thanks, Greg. And just a side note, whenever my computer goes down, Greg's the one that fixes it. So he has the patience of a saint because I'm terrible with computer stuff. So, all right. We have 6. So we have 6 items from HCO Strops. So get your tickets out. If you drop them in the HCO Strops, you know who you are. Get your tickets out and get ready. We got 6 items. We fixing to pick the first one. So when we call your number, first come, first serve, get the one you want. If you're the last one, you get the last thing. That's just how it works. Shake that box. Shake it. The winning number. Should we call the last 4 numbers? Okay. We're going to call all the numbers? Okay. Winning numbers. 7, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8. That sounds like we got a winner back there. Did somebody woohoo?
Yes, sir.
All right, come on down. Make some noise when you win something so we know it. Come on down. All right, while he's making his way up here, you're the first winner for Wild Camp 2024. Thank you so much. Let's see what have to verify. And yep, see, I told you. She keeps me straight. I'm about to just launch it off to somebody. All right, second ticket number 724-532. 724-532. All right, we got somebody in the back.
Look at this, Sarah. I ain't got my glasses with me, but the lights ain't too good in here. Thank you, dude.
We got another winner. Ticket number 724-502. 724-502. We got a winner? We got a winner? All right, all right. Go over and pick which one you want. All right, last one for HCO Strops. Last one for HCO Strops. Here we go. We got ticket number 724-950. 724-950. Do we have a winner? All right, all right. Now,
elephant. We can steal it if we want it.
This is not a white elephant, so.
There's one more.
Oh, there's one more up there?
Those go together.
Oh, go together. Okay. So, how are we doing? So, yeah. Alright, so if you dropped your tickets in a box and you did not win, do not throw your tickets away. We have a bonus prize at the end of the raffle, and we are dumping all the tickets into a box, and we will pull one last winner out. So if you put your tickets, we got two bonus prizes. All right, next up, let's do the One Win Outdoors Hammock. Were you guys happy with the prizes that we had up here for you? Yeah. Awesome.
724-936.
724-936. Over here. We got a winner. So, Fitz, you got yourself a one-win hammock. All right. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Well, that was the end of the raffle, and we had a great time. Everybody enjoyed the raffle. We had some awesome prizes, and we can't thank the sponsors for the raffle prizes at Wild Camp. And everybody had a great time. Now everybody's going to enjoy the campfires and just hanging out and have a good last night at the Wild Camp 2024.
You could not taste the alcohol in it.
I'm only 28.
He had another his girlfriend brought another little gal there, and she had a damn gallon of Lord Calvert beside we was going to play.
Oh my God, that was good.
You're about to fall. Pay attention.
Eat sausage.
I think I have literally just enough for him to take this lobster.
Oh, they don't have a good side. Whatever.
Well, it is morning of the last day of Wild Camp. People are up, milling around, and starting to pack up. A lot of folks have already packed up and gotten out of here, and got some people still cooking a little bit of breakfast by the fire, and I've had my morning coffee. So I really have enjoyed this event. If you didn't make it this year, I think that you would definitely enjoy this event. If you like the camp, the camaraderie of friends, making new friends, I think you would really enjoy this event. So be on the lookout for Wild Camp 2025. It's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if we're going to get bigger, but I think we're going to get better. Huh? Okay.
Thank you for letting us borrow it.
Absolutely, buddy. Alright guys, so we are all wrapped up. Everybody else is gone. And Wild Camp 2024 has come to a close. It's been a great event. We are very proud of the way it turned out. But we couldn't do this event without our sponsors. And the prize sponsors that we had this year were incredibly generous. And the raffle we put on last night with those prizes made so many people happy. So many people got such awesome stuff, and they were so excited about it. And saw some kids win some cool stuff, and you know, it's just one of those things that might boost them on to continue to do this stuff. So those prize sponsors were invaluable for Wild Camp 2024. On that same line, our volunteers that helped us. There's no way that Sarah and I could have done all of this by ourselves. The help in the kitchen, the help with the raffle, the help just maintaining the place around here, throwing garbage away. From the bottom of my heart, to the volunteers, we truly appreciate your help. You were the heart and soul of this event, and again, we couldn't have done it without you. And our super supporters. So for those of you who don't know anything about Wild Camp, we have super supporter night, which we call VIP night. But the super supporters get a extra night, and they get a smaller group of people to camp with. It's a little more intimate feeling. The super supporters really are who helped us be able to have this event where we had it. And we truly appreciate all of you, and we could not have truly done the event the way we did it here at such a beautiful venue without the super supporters. And what would this event have been without our incredible instructors? We had such a good group of instructors, put on such wonderful classes, and the engagement that we got from all the campers, from the to the instructors, was amazing. The classes were full. Everybody learned a lot, had a great time, and we had instructors from Blackie Thomas in Alabama to Andi Wyldlander from North Carolina, Kyle Keene from the Swanee area. Just, it was a plethora of instructors from all over the area, and we're so grateful for all the instructors, and we can't wait to see who we can get next year. Maybe we can get some of these people to come back, and we're super excited about next year. We're really thankful for the instructors that we had this year, and it was a great time. I'm looking forward to doing it again next year, and I think that we are just about to go ahead and book this event, book this venue again for Wild Camp 2025. So be on the lookout for that. I think we're going to take a week off, and we'll start planning the next one. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got to come to Wild Camp. If you didn't get to come to Wild Camp, I hope you get to come to the next Wild Camp. And if you enjoyed this video, give it that big thumbs up for me. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button down there, ring that notification bell so you get notified next time we put out a video. You can follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. I appreciate you watching. I'm ready to get home and take a shower. I'll see you next week.